welcome to Unity of Wilmington's hybrid service. We're changing our terminology a little bit. We have people in the room and we have you live streaming and then watching at the time that you watch, whenever it is. I'm Reverend Nikki Golden. Reverend Mindy Tucker will be giving the lesson today. Katie Dees and her husband Mark Dees will be singing. We're very excited to share with you who we are, and who and what you are. What a joy to be with you. And we want to remind you of three very important things. The first is that you are a beloved expression of God, that you are here for a holy purpose. And I believe that purpose is to love as fully and as deeply as we possibly can, and to know in every moment of the day that we are in the right place at the right time right now. And each time we stand in the consciousness of those truths, we radiate our love to the world and we make it a better place with our presence.
I'll tell the world, I'll sing the song. It's a better place since you came along. Since you came along. I can see the sunlight through the trees and I can feel the ocean breeze. Everything's alright when you're with me. Oh, my favorite thing. Oh, the happiness you bring. Well, it feels like I've opened my eyes again, and the colors are golden and bright again, and the sun paints the skies, and I feel like I belong. It's a better place since you came along. It's a better place since you came along. I see the whole world in your eyes. It's like I've known you all my life. Just feels so right. So I pour my heart into your hands. It's like you really understand. You love the way I am. Oh, my favorite thing. Oh, the happiness you bring. And it feels like I've opened my eyes again. The sun hits the sky, I'm so bright again. There's a song in my heart and I feel like I belong. It's a better place since you came along. It's a better place since you came along. Cause it feels like I've opened my eyes again, and the colors are golden and bright again. There's a song in my heart and I feel like I belong. It's a better place since you came along. It's a better place since you came along.
Thank you, Katie. And thank you, Justin. Who or what has come into your life so that you feel like the world's a better place since that who or what has come along? I mean, who or what has shown up for you in a way that you've begun to recognize and treasure that experience, that dream of fulfillment, that job or that family member or something who came along? Like, who or what is that for you? When I began to answer this question for myself, one of the first thoughts that came to my mind is my relationship with Reverend Nikki. Our relationship is rich with laughter and mutual respect and curiosity and wonder and discovery. And what I like to think of as satisfaction. To me, the deepest experience anyone can have of the kingdom of heaven is actually satisfaction. Love, joy, and peace sometimes get misinterpreted as impossible or inconceivable, or sometimes as airy-fairy. But when love, joy, and peace are grounded in satisfaction and fulfillment, that's an experience of the kingdom of heaven. And that's an experience either with someone or with an experience can make our life a better place. So as I got curious about this last night, I was wondering if Reverend Nikki would have the same answer that I did. So last night at dinner, I asked her. And Reverend Nikki began to talk about getting her PhD. She began to talk about finding unity and how much fulfillment has come from the work that she's put into those experiences and how her world is a better place. And I was just to the point where I was deciding, are my feelings going to be hurt? When she said, and of course my relationship with you. So what or who has been that catalyst for your life becoming a better place? My life actually is a better place because unity came along in my life. Now, granted, I was 4 years old at the time I came into unity, but what has kept my attention the whole time in my growing up years is that unity is a positive path for spiritual living. Unity is a spiritual community that supports the expansion of consciousness and inspires personal transformation. Unity teaches that each of us has a divine nature. And this divine nature that we have, our divinity, is changeless. Our divine nature is always good. It never changes. However, in our human experience changes all the time. And that gives us hope for a better tomorrow. Being that our human experience can change, it can expand, it can grow, it can transpire to something bigger than we ever dreamed it could be, that's where our potential lies. It's like, oh, if I don't like the experience I'm having today, I can do something about it so that tomorrow I can have a different experience. It's like I recognize if I don't like the human experience that I'm having, and trust me, there are days, I know I'm not the only one, I can imagine you too, there are times when we want to create a different future. We want to create a different human experience. Now in the Bible, in the first book of the Bible, in Genesis, in the first 2 chapters of Genesis, there are 2 creation stories. In the first creation stories, it's the one that has all the days. So on the 6th day, God created man. On the 7th day, God took a sabbatical. So some of you know that I'm taking sabbatical, okay. But on the 6th day, God created man. Now, metaphysically, which is what unity is, it's a metaphysical, spiritual community. We look at every aspect of a story, every person or character in the story, and we recognize that it represents ourselves, like we are in that character. So God, metaphysically, represents our I am. God represents our divine nature. Man, metaphysically, in the creation story, represents our human experience. So when we look at the first creation story, what we're really saying is that God didn't do anything. If you didn't grow up in a spiritual community like Unity, and you didn't have an exposure or a long exposure to metaphysics, if you ever want to roll a provocative idea around in your mind, think on this: God doesn't do anything. And if you need some prompts to really get you going, that means God doesn't punish anyone. God doesn't send lightning bolts down. God doesn't save us. God doesn't answer our prayers. It's really it can get you in a headspin. So anyway, we create. Our I am creates. Our I am creates our human experience. So if we are having an experience, it's really the result of the clearest understanding we have of our divine nature. And if we don't like the experience we're having, then we can turn around and get a clearer understanding of our divine nature so that we can create a different experience. The second creation story says pretty much the same thing. God shaped man from the dust of the earth. Metaphysically, the dust of the earth are all the ideas, the thoughts, and beliefs that we hold in our consciousness. We shape them. We form them. We bring them into manifestation. So again, we're the creator. We're the ones who can do something in our lives. I mean, it's like no pressure. No pressure. So when I was growing up in Unity, I learned this song in Sunday school. And I don't know if it's unique to Unity because it's the only Sunday school experience I've ever had, or if it's in other religions or other denominations, but the song was called Good, Better, Best. Good, better, best, I'll never let it rest till my good is better and my better best. Good, better, best, I'll never let it rest till my good is better and my better best. And we used to sing it faster and faster. Good, better, best, I never let it rest till my good is better and better. I mean, we sang it over and over again. And this song has stuck with me for the longest time because it's an invitation for me to look at my life and say, hey, if I want to have a good life, what new ideas, what new thoughts, what new information can I bring to my conscious awareness so that I can create that good life? And if I turn around and make an assessment and say, wow, I have a good life, but what new ideas, what new thoughts, what new information can I bring into my conscious awareness to create a better life? And when I create that better life, what can I do to create my best life? And when my best life has become the new normal, what can I do to start the cycle all over again? Good, better, best, I'll never let it rest till my good is better and my better best. We laugh, but what an invitation to transformation. What great questions, empowering and transformational questions we can use to ask ourselves when we begin to recognize we want to reform, reshape our lives. What incredibly powerful questions. And why do we know that we can always be reaching today for tomorrow's good, better, or best is because there's an infinite sea of divine ideas available to us all the time. We have in our I am, our divine nature, the best ideas. We have the clearest ideas. We have ideas of love, joy, and peace. We have ideas of satisfaction. They're everywhere. Charles Fillmore, the co-founder of Unity, said, it's substance in the ethers. All we have to do is breathe it in. All we have to do is be open and receptive and invite those ideas in. Now, in 1936, Charles Fillmore wrote a book called Prosperity. And if you think about 1936, that was the very deepest, most challenging time, perhaps, in the Great American Depression. He said, spiritual substance from which comes all visible wealth is never depleted. It is right with you all the time and responds to your faith in it and your demands on it. So the next question is, what are we putting in the way of the opulence of the divine ideas that are everywhere present and their manifestation? What are we putting in the, what's in the way of our faith? What's in the way of our deservability that we don't demand it or we don't ask it? What's in the way of these opulent, rich ideas that are everywhere? And when I say prosperity, when I talk about abundance, when we talk about wealth and unity, we're talking about the 360-degree definition of it. We're talking about wealth in our relationships. We're talking about wealth in our body, in the health of our body. We're talking about the fulfillment in our careers. We're talking about, yes, the money in our bank account and our savings accounts and the home we live in. We're talking about 360 degrees of wealth. What, from this rich, opulent, divine sea of ideas, why are we blocking ourselves? You know, unity isn't a denomination or a religion that tells you what to think. We're a denomination and a religion that invites you to reconsider what you think. So when you leave unity, you're going to know that you've been asked lots of questions, some of which are easy, some of which are not, but all of which are meaningful. All of which are meaningful to your expression, your greater expression of your highest good. So what's in between you and your dreams? What's in between you and those relationships? What's in between you and that ideal career choice? What's in between you and the kingdom of heaven? I think some of it is that we get spun up. Do you get spun up? I get spun up. We get spun up. And right now, and maybe for several years, and maybe for several years more, we live in a community divided. And when I say community, I'm really talking not only about our community in the town we live in, but our nation and the world. There are so many divisive issues. If you just think about our country, we appear to be divided by political parties. We're polarized. And when it comes to issues of race, we're polarized about issues of race. And not only are we polarized about those issues, we're polarized about how to address those issues. And when you think about the last 16, 18 months, talking about COVID and how it swept around the world, we're polarized on the science of how to best support our well-being. So we get very emotional because the wider we get, the harder it is for us to recognize that there are different perspectives available for us to see. And the wider we get, the more entrenched we are in our position, so we can't even be open to the wealth of ideas that are present that might bring us back to a what I call a third way. You know, it's like, I think it's right, you think it's left. What about a whole different resolution that's neither white or black? It's not right or wrong. It's just, what if there's a whole nother way? And when we're so entrenched way up here, out here, and we're caught up in our emotions, we can't see it. Brain science tells us that we'll get contracted right back into our amygdala, and we won't be able to access our frontal cortex, which is really where our creative thoughts are. Metaphysically, it's like we just contract and shut down, and we have a more narrower human experience. We're in the grip of anxiety. We're in a grip of survival. And when we get in that grip of emotional turmoil, really anxiety, what we tend to do is we begin to make choices that are expedient. We want the most expedient solution to give us that immediate relief from our anxiety, to give us an immediate solution from any suffering that we might be having. Expedient is putting all of our skeletons in a closet and hoping nobody will notice that we're afraid or that we just lied or whatever we put a skeleton in a closet for. And the thing about putting skeletons in a closet is that they continue to grow. They're just like mold. Mold grows in the dark. Expedient choices really means that there's a stain on the carpet and we've covered it up with a rug. Expedient choices are not telling somebody the truth because we're afraid we're going to hurt their feelings, or we're afraid that they might get angry and we don't want to face that uncomfortability. Being expedient is only good in the exact present moment that we're expedient. Being expedient reflects no faith and no courage. One of the persons who has come along into my life and made it a better place is Jordan Peterson. Jordan Peterson wrote the book 12 Rules for Life, An Antidote for Chaos, and over the course of this year, I've been diving deep into each of those 12 rules, not only for my personal benefit, but to share with you, and also taking a look at them to see how they reflect our unity teachings. Today is rule number 7. Do what is meaningful, not what is expedient. So that grip that our emotions can have on us can lead us falsely to believe that expedient is the best choice for us. But in truth, if we stop for a moment, take a breath, and do an assessment, ask ourselves, good, better, best, we can begin to make better choices for tomorrow. So in his book, it's a very long chapter, and it starts off talking about sacrifice. And I had a hard time with the whole idea of sacrifice because I was looking at it literally. Literally, I'm going to have to sacrifice something. I'm going to have to, he was going through Hebrew scripture stories about burnt animals. He was going through all of that. He was going through how Abel was a really good sacrificer and how Cain wasn't, and Cain got jealous and he killed Abel, and how it was very bloody. And I was having a hard time because I kept looking at it literally. And then I had the thought, I had two thoughts actually. The first one was, what if literally I'm sacrificing whatever human experience I'm having right now, looking at good, better, best? What if I could sacrifice the experience I have now, like give it up, burn it, send it into the ethers, so that I was available then to have that better experience for tomorrow? I mean, Jordan Peterson talks about how it's important for us to realize the causative relationship between our choices today and our experience tomorrow. And really, in this logic, he calls it sacrifice. But then the second thought I had was, oh my goodness, we're in a metaphysical, spiritual community. I could look up the metaphysical meaning of sacrifice. It was no problem with the creation stories. I don't know why it took me so long to come to it, but I had to suffer through a good bit of the chapter, and there's a lot in there that I'm not talking about, but this is what I'm talking about. So sacrifice, metaphysically, this is what it means. It's a refining process that is constantly going on in consciousness. It's a purification of mind and body so that spirit may come in and do the regenerative work. It's a transmutation of physical forces to the next higher plane of action. And this is the kind of sacrifice that I can get into 100%. 100%. What I want for myself is that refining process in consciousness so that I can really consciously choose what kind of life I have tomorrow. What in my past am I going to sacrifice? What in the present moment am I going to sacrifice? Time, talent, treasure. I don't know what it is, but I'm going to replace it. I'm going to refine it so that tomorrow I can have a greater experience of the kingdom of heaven. I want to purify my mind and body so that I can be available to regenerate an awareness of my wholeness. I want to have a transmutation of conditions in my life so that I don't look at them with dissatisfaction, so that I don't try to avoid them, so that I can respond to those conditions with love. I want this for me, and I want this for you. Each and every one of us is a creative being. And when we look at refining, when we look at purifying, and we look at transmuting, it's like, call it sacrifice if you want to, but I certainly get giving something up today so that I can have that greater experience of good, better, best for tomorrow. There are two things that we have to keep in mind if this is something that you're interested in. If this is something you're interested in, we have an affirmation for you. We have an affirmation for you. Of course we have an affirmation for you. We have an invitation to action. But I want you to keep two things in mind as you come along with this affirmation, because we have to remember receptivity. All of this exists, but we have to be receptive to it. We have to open our minds and hearts to the opulent, rich, divine substance, the divine ideas that are everywhere present. And the second part is it takes discipline. It takes committing. It takes recommitting. It takes really saying in every moment of your day, hey, wait a minute. Remember what you want. Keep your eyes on the prize. This has come along to your life to make a better place. So receptivity and discipline. So then they're part of the affirmation. The affirmation is this: I am receptive to my good, better, and best. I am disciplined in refining, purifying, and transmuting my every thought, word, and deed. From my divinity, I create a meaningful human experience. Let's say that together so you can try it on as a question. Is this something I'm willing to step into? Is this something that's going to support the expansion of my consciousness? Is this something that's going to inspire my personal transformation? So let's say it now all together. I am receptive to my good, better, and best. I am disciplined in refining, purifying, and transmuting my every thought, word, and deed. From my divinity, I create a meaningful human experience. Let's take this into meditation. Let's take this into a time of integration and wonder. So if you're comfortable, I invite you to close your eyes. I invite you to deepen your breathing. I invite you to wander in to the walls, to the dams, to the blockages that you have set around yourself that is keeping you from your full faith, that is keeping you from demanding your good, better, and best. Gently, gently, as you go deeper and deeper, remember your oneness with the I am. Remember your oneness with your capacity for understanding, for wisdom, for imagination, for your ability to shape substance, to add color and dimension in your life. Your oneness with your I am, with power, with will, a force of desire. And with your desire itself, the desire to be one with the kingdom of heaven, a fulfillment of love, joy, and peace with the deepest satisfaction. And as you prepare to come back into physical awareness, simply push aside, tumble those walls down. Let them disintegrate into the nothingness from which you came, from which they came, so that you can bloom, so that you can grow, so that you can be that rosebud that opens its petals to the light of the sun, so that you can be that lotus that from the bottom of the mud reaches into the clear water to open itself, to become the golden light. As you come up and presence yourself fully in your body, do it with gratitude. Gratitude for a willingness to be open, to be receptive, and for your fortitude, for discipline, and for a better and best tomorrow. So it is, and so we let it be. Amen.
My chances were already gone. Started believing that I could be wrong, but you give me one good reason to fight and never walk away. So here I am, still holding on. With every step you climb another mountain, every breath that's harder to believe, you make it through the pain. When you think the road is going nowhere, just when you almost gave up on your dreams, they take you by the hand and show you that you can. There are no boundaries. easy gains. Don't know the future's headed, but nothing's gonna bring me down. I've jumped every bridge and I've run every line. I've risked being saved, but I always knew why. I always knew why. So here I am, still holding on. With every step you climb another mountain, every breath is harder to believe. You make it through the pain, weather the hurricanes, to get to that one thing. Just when you think the road is going nowhere, just when you almost gave up on your dreams, they take you by the hand, show you that you can. You can go higher, you can go deeper. There are no boundaries above and beneath you. Break every rule, 'cause there's nothing between you and your dreams.
What a joy to have nothing between us and our dreams. To know that we can be inspired from within ourselves and to then move it forward and live. If you've been touched, moved, or inspired by the message that we have today, put it into action in your own life. See the impact and decide what level of generosity you would like to give back to us, and know that we love and care for you.
There are many ways to support Unity of Wilmington. You can find our donate button on our website. You can go through Facebook, or you can find us on Venmo. If you're here in the building, there's a basket in the back, and you can drop your generosity in there on your way out of the service. And thank you. Thank you for participating in creating a meaningful human experience, not only for yourself, but the community, the world that we live in.
With every breath you step another mountain, every breath it's harder to believe. Yeah, there are no boundaries, there are no boundaries. With every step you climb